Alright, what's up YouTube? Today we got some more E90 content or BMW content. I'm showing you guys how to replace your front control arm slash strut arm slash torsion arm, whatever you want to call this thing. Very common issue on almost any BMW, I want to say. This is a 2007 E90, but I've seen this issue on almost any BMW, literally from E90s, E80s, even the X series. I've seen it all over, even the older ones and the newer ones. So this is how we switch this out. Here is an old one. We can see this thing is completely shot. It's not supposed to have movement like this. If your thing has movement like this, it's definitely bad. We can see this one is nice and solid. You can get a whole kit like this from eBay for like 50 bucks. Unless you want to upgrade to like M3 or to some other monoball type design. But I think this is just fine, to be honest. And here's a quick way to test these things out. Main symptom you'll feel is when you brake, you'll feel like a clunk. And it's gonna be because of this. We can see how much movement this thing has. Right there. All right, I put the camera stationary because it's a bit easier to see. But we can see how much movement this thing has. But the real movement is right here. See that? That is a lot. That's a lot of movement. And this is just with this little pry bar. Now imagine the whole wheel turning with the whole weight of the car when you're braking. So you can just imagine how much this control arm moves. And most likely, like I said, that bushing in here is going to be completely torn apart. So all it really is two fasteners, one bolt here and one nut down here. That's literally it. First nut I remove is this one. This is going to be a 21 millimeter nut. I use obviously a impact, but you can use a ratchet, whatever. All right, so that removed pretty easy. That's that. Next thing left is going to be right here. So now the bolt that we have to remove is going to be this one right here. It's a 16 millimeter bolt. Just get yourself a big ratchet like this one right here. Let's just break it loose. Come on, break it loose. Break it loose. Oh, this was pretty tight. That's why I'm using a pretty big ratchet. We can see it's coming out. Once it loosens up quite a bit, you can pretty much hit it with your power ratchet or take it out by hand. And like I said, the rest of the bolt can just come out by hand. It's a bit quicker. And once it's fully out like this, pull out the full bolt. This arm right here just falls down, and you just have to kind of wiggle it around until it comes out like this. And there you go, it's in and out in less than literally 15 minutes. This is the arm I just took out, and clearly, as we can see, the bushing in here is cut, completely torn apart. Obviously it has too much movement, and yeah, this thing definitely needed to be replaced. You can replace just pressing out this bushing right here, you know, replace it with like a monoball or whatever. But I like replacing the whole arm because you also get a new ball joint right here. But these are OEM BMW ones. But I mean, this isn't a race car or anything, so I'm okay with just swapping them out with some cheap eBay ones. Or, I mean, you could also go to the auto parts store, get some there, or from FCP Euro, depending on what you want. Now, just like how you took it out, you can install it back in. Only difference is that this one uses a 22 millimeter nut. I mean, no big difference. Here we go. Just like how we took it out, we're gonna basically put it back in. So we're gonna line it up here, put it into that hole over there. Then once it's in over there, we can kind of squeeze this somewhat in here. There we go. See how it's going in? Nothing too crazy. You just have to line up the holes. Lining up the hole, I guess, is the tricky part. Make sure you can see through, because if you can't, then you're not really lined up. So this one needs a little bit more down this way. I mean, line up the hole, I mean this hole right here. The bolt won't go in unless it's lined up with the control arm inside. Saw how I moved that. Now this should be able to go right in there. Perfect. Always thread this in by hand. Don't go straight up and hit it with the impact or nothing. Make sure it starts grabbing, which it's not, so that means we have to wiggle it a little bit more. Maybe this hole lined up, but the other side did not line up. So we wiggle a little bit, and I think we're grabbing now. All right, so it started grabbing. I'm going in with the ratchet, but do not tighten this thing down all the way. Just snug it, just ever so slightly. Let's see. All right, that should be close enough. It's still a bit loose. You can see how loose it is. It's still very loose. What we have to do now is lift the suspension up to ride height, and then we tighten down this bushing, because if we don't do that, we're gonna wear this bushing out prematurely, because we're gonna get it stuck on the bottom position, and this thing basically twists in place. So a quick little explanation: when you do clamp this thing down, it's gonna clamp this bushing in place right there. So if you clamp it down on the bottom position, it's gonna stay like that, and it's gonna flex real hard to be on the ride position, which is gonna be the normal position. That's why you put it in your normal riding position, tighten this bushing down, and then that way whenever you go on a bump, it goes back to its normal position. If you don't do that, you're gonna wear this bushing out really early because you didn't install it properly. Like I said, if you have one of these rubber bushings, if you have like some sort of monoball bushing, or if you have like a monoball bushing, you don't have to worry about that. But if you have one of these rubber bushings, you have to tighten it down at ride height. All right, here we go. I'm gonna raise this thing up to ride height, more or less. It's not gonna be completely flat, but as close as you can get it to. As you can see, we're already lifting up the car, so there's not really any more higher I can go. But that looks pretty level. This lower control arm looks pretty level if you ask me. So now we can tighten this bushing down at the proper ride height, which is, I guess, there. Like I said, the car is off the jack stand, so not really much more I can do. So we tighten it down right here. With the jack and still in place. Let's go right here. Tighten that down. Tight is tight. Torque it to spec. So now that it's tight, we're pretty much good to go. That's it. You can drop it. This nut down here, obviously, you could put the old one in, or I'd recommend using a new one. We put a new one in. That's pretty basic. Just tighten that down, and you're pretty much done. That's it. Let go of the jack, and your arm should come down smoothly. No funny noises, and that's it. You just basically repeat the same thing on the other side. But I made a separate TikTok video about that one. This one was for YouTube. But that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do. Just so you guys can see the little movement we have now. See how much it moves now? Literally no movement at all. There's no movement, which is good. That's very good. If anything, the M3 ones are super solid like this. So we might have M3 control arms basically. But anyways, that's how you do it. Thanks for watching.